Why, hello there, my name's Stephen Ritchie. I'm still a sculptor from Ashford in Kent. In fact, I might just re-describe myself a little bit. I think I ought to start calling myself a multimedia artist, because I will work in any materials, and I've certainly, in recent times, got into my painting. Now, I got into my painting, or was forced into getting into my painting, really, because I had a hernia operation at the beginning of this year, and it brought me to a complete standstill for 6 months and put the Brighton project on hold. Now, I've got some very, very understanding customers that allowed me to do that, and my completion date was kept very flexible, which is great. Thank you for that. Excuse me. Pardon me. So, in the 6 months, I thought I'd sort of bring you up a little bit up to date to what I'm up to. So I'm not only painting and things, you know. I thought I'd just bring you up to what I've been up to in my life, really, because in this 6 months it's been very interesting. And I not only want to show you what I've been up to in the last 6 months, I'd like to show you a little bit of my family. I'd like to show you a little bit of the Brighton project, obviously, and give you a heads up on what's coming up next, of which you will miss unless you subscribe. And it's a really interesting project that's coming up next. So, the painting has been good. It's been good therapy for me. I had no idea that I could paint, to be honest. I haven't really done very much since I left school, and I'm still a novice, really, but I had some big canvases to play with, and I was getting some really good pictures out of some of them. Now, the fact that the canvases were donated to me allowed me to feel like, other than the price of the paint, that I could that I could practice, and I could, bring my skills, set up a little bit, do some learning, get some YouTube on and watch and learn and just get into it a little bit, which I have done. I'm only working in acrylics, but I'm working quite big. I really enjoy it, and I can see that my future, when the sculpting days are over, that I shall take up painting a little bit more seriously. The hernia won't stop me. I mean, now I've had the operation, obviously, but it won't stop me from sculpting. I'll still take on anything. I just might subcontract and have some more assistance. I did a couple of shows in the summer as well. I might have managed to get another one in before the summer runs out. And this was quite a strange thing. There was a Saracen at one of them, and I worked on these vehicles as a young man with a legendary chap called Mick Turner, who's still alive. And I also worked alongside a man called Dick Lane, who isn't with us anymore. I started my apprenticeship with Dick Lane, and what a very, very nice chap he was. And I know he greatly missed by his family and close friends. And look, I miss him already. I wish I saw more of him. Yeah, poor old Dick. Anyway, the same place I was working on Saracens, I learnt my trade, and that's why I'm a sculptor, and that's why I've got the skills to do and make all these things. I always knew I could draw a bit. I didn't really know that I could paint. And yes, so the last 6 months have been quite eventful. Not only got to know the local kids quite well, and some of which are quite talented, especially when you give them some crash mats. They show me what they can do and flip about. I had a wedding. I've got 6 children. I've got 4 stepchildren and 2 boys of my own. And this is the first one to get married, which was Jessica. Now, the young lady that I was sat next to at primary school, Linda, I married her younger sister called Carol, and it was through Carol that I got the 4 stepchildren. Jessica was walked down the aisle by her grandfather on her wedding day, and the following day he died. So it was a real mix of things. It was a beautiful day, absolutely fantastic wedding. It's lovely to see all my children all in one place, and all the grandchildren as well, all running around the gardens, around the church. It was all very local to me as well, so it was all within walking distance, even though my son gave me a lift everywhere. And there's George. We just had a fantastic time. It was the last time I shook his hand. He was very helpful to me, and even when I separated from Carol, he still came round to see me, see how I was. I also managed to get a Pearl Jam gig in with some really close friends, and Heather and Gav and Lou, just the best people to go to a gig with. We had an absolutely brilliant day. I am not exaggerating. I'm a big Pearl Jam fan. When I was in a rock band, I think we did 9 Pearl Jam covers, something like that. So yeah, my voice was quite Vederish when I was in my 30s, and I love Pearl Jam. I can play a fair bit of it. So yeah, spent some time at the Science Museum. I don't know why I banged these pictures in, but I find machine shops absolutely fascinating. I could tell you, like some machine geek, tell you every machine and what it can do. And this is a little model of a machine shop. Now, a machine shop like this existed up the road here at the railway works. Belt-driven machines, all off a steam train at the end of the workshop. That had been commonplace and certainly recognisable to myself. And we just had a really good time at the Pearl Jam gig. And the crowd that was with us and around us, there was other Ashfordians who were there as well. Pearl Jam, as always, gave a great, as Gav, and there's Heather. And we met a Welsh couple that were next to us, and another little crowd of mates behind us as well, which were right good fun. We could not have had a better time there. The atmosphere was just second to none. And super hot day, and the evening was absolutely roasting, but it didn't matter. No one seemed to get burnt in any way, and all in all, yeah. But there was the Brighton project to finish, and as much as I had a good time painting and going to gigs, there was a serious note to this.
No, it's not going to work.
The Brighton project was going to be the last one at this particular studio. I was moving myself back to Bilting, which is a little yard, it's only a mile up the road. So this was the last thing I was going to make in this particular workshop. And all the elements to the Brighton project were here. And yeah, this was quite a task, this. And as I was saying, working to somebody else's drawings, to somebody else's work, something I haven't done for all 30 years. I hope not ever to do it again. No, that's not true. I'd like to be involved a bit earlier in the design process, but it is what it is, and it was what it was. And it certainly kept me busy for a long time. But we're now at the final stages. I will be posting a mixed film with this at some point to give you an idea of exactly what it all entailed. The fitting of this was, it had to be right. It's, it is a public sculpture. Yeah, I had to make the fixings and things really strong. Had to make these very strong in themselves. You've got to think of the largest person sitting on top of these things. The bracketry and things had to be absolutely rock solid. I mounted some very, very strong pins into the wall, which the sculpture's got sort of hung on, and then they were pinned in the bottom. So from an engineering point of view, I had to make a good job of this. Obviously Jaguar Land Rover suffer falls lightly. They're a very serious company, and they make some very well engineered cars and vehicles. And the last thing they want hanging on their outside of their wall is something that's going to fall off the wall. David Ash did some back painting to this as well, so he preempted me a little bit. Got to site a few days before and did the painting, which I thought I was going to help him with. It's a beautiful site. It's a well engineered, and I understand that David Ash's son was part of the architecture team that actually did some architecture work on this. Dave's obviously designed the sculptures themselves. I modified a fair bit as we went along, with discussion obviously with Dave. Dave turned out, like I say, a few days before and did the back painting, which really set these these sculptures off really well. And then it was down to the team to drill holes and glue pins in and set these things up in such a way that, like I say, the largest person, I think a lorry could hit these things and they wouldn't fall off the wall. So I'm pretty confident that what we've done here, we're going to work quite well. There's David Ash, who I hope would like to work with again. He's a very likeable man. He's a very talented fellow, a graphic artist by trade, but he can put his hands to all sorts of things, and very like myself, it's not frightened of any type of work, and isn't shy of doing or attempting to tackle anything, and does it to a very high quality as well. So I'm very impressed with that. I did put a little short film together, which I shall spin through, and this is the film that I sent to Shaggy and Landover people. So I shall shut up for a minute. So here we are. I thought I'd show you my new den. This is my small design studio. It's in Bilting, at the Bilting Storage Centre between Ashford and Canterbury, and this is where I'm going to be working out of from here on in. My next project, which is a really interesting one, is to mount a dragon on the gable end of a church. Now, I say a church, it hasn't been a church for 600 years. It's a 920-year-old building, but it hasn't been a church for 600 of those years. Imagine the timescales we're talking about here. But anyway, if you want to see that and its making, I've got a few more little jobs to finish off, but the moment I start this, and I've got some film footage, I'll be sure to posting it. And of course, you will miss it if you don't subscribe. So don't forget to click that little button. Press that little bell so you know when they're coming. I don't post that much, so I won't overwhelm you with things, because a lot of the things that I make take quite a long time to make. But yeah, I shall be doing a bit more of this. Stay in touch, stay safe everybody, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening. I know it's been a bit of a weird and wacky film. I've told you all sorts of things about myself, which I really shouldn't do, but I have, because I've had a good 6 months. I now got to get back on with some work and get my head down a little bit. So look, thanks for listening everybody. Have a nice life. Ta-ta.